Here I want to talk about why immigration is a bad thing. Most people are so used to immigration that while they may dislike certain aspects of it, they regard it as something like the weather. You can't change the weather, you just have to live with it. But immigration is not the weather, it is a government policy. It's not some force of nature that we have no power over, even in theory. Our government, and if you live in the Western world, then I mean your government, actively supports immigration. The government, the media, and academia are not neutral on this issue, and we should never take their point of view as a neutral point of view. So what possible reason could anyone have for opposing immigration? I have chosen 7. There is no such thing as infinity jobs, population replacement, destruction of the nation, interracial, ethnic, religious violence, importing other people's problems. Immigration is a way of hiding our social problems. The government is our servant, not our master. There is no such thing as infinity jobs. To have a decent life, there must exist jobs. The unemployed simply exist. They do not live decent lives. Yet the government seems to believe a number of bizarre ideas when it comes to jobs. They believe that immigration creates jobs, that the unemployed do not have jobs because they do not really want jobs, and that those in jobs are quite safe from immigrants. But not a single one of those ideas is true. If immigration creates jobs, shouldn't there exist a formula that states how many immigrants are needed to eliminate unemployment? But to my knowledge, no such formula exists. And if it does, it certainly hasn't been used, as unemployment is a chronic problem in nearly every Western country. The idea that those in jobs have nothing to fear is also not true, as changing an area's demographics will often change the types of jobs done in that area. It seems it's too bad if your business is displaced because your own government got rid of your customers. There is only a finite amount of businesses or jobs. There is no such thing as infinity jobs. Population replacement. If an island has 100 orange people, what happens when purple people immigrate? Well, the orange people often end up moving away, as the different ways of the purple people are just too different for the orange people to accept. Now, in modern Western culture, that is often called racism. The orange people are expected at all times to be accommodating. They are not allowed to complain or in any way to express discomfort or any form of negative emotion at all. They must simply accept the new immigrants. But slowly, in most cases, sometimes very fast, the population begins to change. The amount of orange people declines and the amount of purple people increases. There will come a point where the orange people who once dominated the land will be a minority. This is called population replacement. Some call it genocide, but I'll leave that up to you. Destruction of the nation. It's not just the population of the nation that changes, but also its culture and its institutions. How long will Christmas and Easter remain holidays once the population is either not Christian nor culturally Christian? Liberals say, how stupid, of course it will continue. But the truth is, they do not care whether it continues. How long will its food, books, music and history continue if people change race, ethnicity or religion? How long can its legal traditions and political culture continue when the culture that created them no longer exists? How can a nation survive when the things that gave it a distinct life are gone? I do not believe that it can. Interracial, ethnic, religious violence. Intercommunal violence is very common in the third world, but not very common in the first world. But of course, when 2 or more peoples are put in close contact and they disagree, then violence is possible. Liberalism denies that reality and insists that contact creates sympathy, but contact can create contempt. The differences are just too different to accept, and that can lead to violence. The past is full of such intercommunal violence. The present has its share as well, and so will the future. Liberals believe that ideology can overcome reality. Traditionalists do not agree, and in this most people agree with traditionalists. Violence is not automatic, but to put people in a giant mixer and then shake, is a great test of ideology over reality. Importing other people's problems. Immigrants do not come alone. They come with their baggage. They bring with them cultural ideas, religious ideas, and political ideas, and not all of them are compatible with their new country. They come from wars that we are not fighting. Sometimes they leave for wars we are not fighting, and they bring that back. In recent times, we have had countries fighting in wars, and their immigrant citizens have fought against their own country. Legally, it is their country, but how can that be true when they want to fight and kill its soldiers? Health problems that do not exist in one country are brought to it by immigrants from another. Importing other people's problems is not a good idea. Immigration is a way of hiding our social problems. No-fault divorce, single parenthood, childlessness, none of these problems are the fault of immigrants. They were done by Westerners to Westerners, and they have been disastrous. But to show people they are not, immigration can hide many of the problems that these issues create. Too many people getting divorced? Immigrants tend to come from more traditionally minded societies, and they divorce less often. The same with children. If Westerners aren't having children, then immigrants can, which leads to even greater population replacement. Here, immigrants can hide, without knowing it, just how bad our society is function. Everything looks better than it really is. The government is our servant, not our master. Our government thinks that when it says jump, our job is to ask how high. But we live in a democracy, and that means that we are the masters. Unfortunately, our numbers work against us, as we have different ideas about things, and that means they can use divide and rule to control us. But when our government does something we believe is against our interest, we should not just accept it. Immigration is not in the interests of any peoples. It is a direct attack on us, the people, our past and our future. The government has a duty to protect us, and that includes from population replacement. Our government is not doing its duty. No Western country needs any more immigration. We have enough people. We have enough diversity. We have had enough. Immigration should stop, and we need to let our government know that this is how we feel. It is up to us to do something about this problem, because it will not go away by itself.